Welcome, Marina. Thanks for joining us today. So, you just graduated from
Yeah.
Shillington, is that right?
Yes,
Yeah.
just. Yeah. I had an extended date of graduation. Can I say that?
Yeah, yeah, that's fine.
You've
Um,
been really good to me.
yeah. So, tell me, I mean, I didn't get to meet you at the start of the course, but tell me a little bit about why you decided to enroll and study graphic design.
Yeah, I've been doing advertising for ages before this, back home where I'm from Argentina. And at one point I came over here to Australia to live, and I kind of said, that's it. I don't want to know anything else. Like, that's it for me, advertising. And I've always liked, while I was doing that back home, I always work with a graphic designer next to me because I'm more on the copywriting and strategy side of stuff. So I always like envied in a good way what the graphic designers were doing. And I put it on my bucket list and I said, okay, down the line, I will do it once I settle somewhere. And I settled somewhere and I decided, okay, this is the moment. I want to learn how to use the tools because I knew the basics, but I didn't know how to really think like design wise. So it was really, really about that. And I also love illustration. So I also wanted to see how I could go from the analog part of things to digital, which was really helpful for that.
And did you find like your background in advertising like helpful when you were kind of doing the course and now kind of combining it with your design skill?
Yeah, 100%. Like the strategy part mostly. Like it's not just, it looks good. Yes, of course. Like whatever looks nice and floats your boat, go for it. But like also like having this rationale behind things, I find it like that background really helped to like put a system in place more than just this looks nice, let's go for it. Because with without strategy, without like the guidelines for thinking, I think that one piece can look good, but then down the line you won't be able to like reproduce success.
Yeah. And what's the dream then of like what you'd love to do now that you've graduated from Shillington with like all these skills?
I mean, I've landed a really corporate job at the moment, but although I like it and it's good, it's challenging in other ways. I think I like more the artistic part, more like packaging and branding and like really thinking of like getting in with a brand from beginning to execution all the way. I think that's what I really enjoy. And I also enjoy a lot like more the art stuff, like more of I have like a more of an artist facet to it, but that's why also Shillington helped me. It's like it gave me more structure and like it gave me more tools actually to go from paper to digital. So yeah,
And do you
both
think
both of those things I think.
do you think you'd love to like work for yourself in the future or like in a studio with like other people? What would be like the ideal dream design role for you?
I love working in a team. I love people. I love what happens when like actually when we were in class and like someone gave feedback or input on designs, I always thought like how brilliant or how interesting other like we were from everywhere in the world. So also that is really enlightening. So
Hmm.
I would love to work in a studio with a team, but I also really enjoy working alone. It would be like a mix of both, like part-time job in a studio and then like maybe a passion project or something of my own. But more, it would be not so graphic design, just more, I mean, illustration, yes, but not so like graphic design,
Having some
grids,
flexibility,
grids and
like
rulers. Yeah, exactly, exactly.
so you like the flexibility of being able to kind of do, illustration projects and design and maybe a bit of art and like whatever,
Yeah.
all things, different things.
Photography, like
Yeah.
I love mixed media. At the end of the day,
Yeah.
it's what I like the most and it's what attracts me the most about what I see out there, like mixed media. And also, I think an important thing, maybe I'm getting ahead of myself, but I think that with everything going on, like everyone is hyper connected. I think that in a way it will come back to in-person community spaces, places where you can get together and actually do graphic design the old school way, I guess, like with
Hmm.
collage and like cutting out things and things like this. Eventually, I would like to have a space where people come and like we get together as community. But that's related but unrelated.
No, I think that's interesting. Like, do you think that'll be like a response to maybe like the rise of like AI, that people will maybe want more in-person experiences designing together and creating together?
Absolutely. I already can start to see it. Like I don't know, maybe it's my algorithm telling me that there's every day more like communal spaces where people they do pottery or like whatever. Maybe it's just like a 4-day thing or a workshop. I used to have one of those and I would like to have it again. I used to have a workshop where people would come to knit, do embroidery, do jewelry, like everything together. So I think I will get to it later in life. But yeah, I absolutely think that the rise of this AI will make people want to see like actually real stuff and not wonder why, like, is it real? Is it not?
Yeah, connect more in person. Yeah, that's interesting.
100%.
So yeah, you've only recently graduated and you've already landed a job, maybe not the dream job at the moment, but how did you find like applying for jobs, after Shillington? Have you found it easy, or has it been challenging, or
I mean, it's been a ride in the sense that many things are like there's so many disciplines that some employers ask for, and it's like really you need to be jack of all trades for this. And I do think that what Shillington did that set me up for success is creating the portfolio, defending my work, not defending my work, but like explaining my work. Also, like the fact that you go out already with a website if that's what you want, which I did on my own. And it gives you the initial knowledge to do all those like prototyping, UX, UI. It's not in depth, but it's your own right. Maybe I wasn't interested in those things, but whoever was, I think that they got the chance to go deeper into that. And in a way, for such a short period of time, let's say, you get to touch base on every little thing. So you don't feel like imposters syndrome
yeah?
when you apply to a job.
And was there anything like in particular that you learned at Shillington that's kind of stuck with you that you still think about or you find like useful today?
Let me think. Let me think. Like brand concept, I think it's the thing that which I already carried, but I think thinking about a brand concept and making it strong from the beginning, like not necessarily mood boards help, yeah, like word association helps, but like putting it down in a brand concept and just creating from that base makes everything easier. Like you always can go back to that initial moment to decide, because one thing that I did learn as well is like I have a lot of ideas. So I can be very indecisive. And along all my teachers, they all said like, go back to your initial, like, go back to your initial concept, go back there. Like, does that answer your question? And that was really helpful. I still think about it to this day.
So the brand concept can kind of like anchor you through that, through the rest of the creative process and kind of guide you through when you can get a bit lost, trying to come up with your designs. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
or even
interesting.
like following trends. Like, yeah, some trends are cool and it's all good, but you can get lost with all like what we were saying before, like with all the over saturated like space in internet with like all everyone sharing their things. It's like if you just forget about all that and concentrating the brand concept, maybe you can come up with an idea that you find walking down the street and not necessarily
Hmm.
on Instagram, Pinterest, and all of those places. I don't know.
Yeah. Um, what would be one piece of advice that you would give to your younger self starting out in design? If you were kind of going back in time and giving some advice to yourself before you started, what would you say to yourself?
Oh my God. First of all, study graphic design, the full career. Don't study marketing. um, I would say maybe I think surrounding yourself with creative people is very important. And sometimes
Hmm.
it's hard, to share your process and like kids so that protect your energy, but at the same time, like surround yourself with people that are in a similar search than you. I think I would say this to myself. Like
Yeah.
be true to yourself, but like also get together with people and don't be scared or afraid to show up and show whatever thing it is that you're doing, even if it's really bad or really good, doesn't matter. Like don't take praise too seriously or criticism too seriously, but just share. Which by the way, I'm saying it to myself now as well.
No, I think it's definitely good advice. I'm always like, yeah, like building creative community around you can be like so helpful. Like just, the
Yeah,
you know, peace of mind and also to learn from each other and get inspired. So I think that's some great advice. Yeah.
yeah.
All right. Well, let's have a look at one of your projects if you want to share your screen. Uh,
Let me
so
screen. Allow. Oh my God, clicked. One sec. I think, yeah, there you go.
yes.
This is the beginning of the company rebrand. Should I go from here or?
Uh,
Whoa, I
maybe
have the
we'll go.
portfolio style.
Maybe you want to start with the like before bit of like of the yeah like some of the process, maybe showing like what the brand looked like before and maybe like what you thought the potential was with this rebrand. Like, why did you undertake this project? Like, what was interesting about this brand and why you wanted to kind of tackle it?
Okay. I feel like I was David and Goliath because Remedy is such a big brand here in Australia. I think I got the guts to present it as a rebrand because I'm not from here. After the fact, I learned that it's the number one selling kombucha in the country. So at the end of the day, I was like, oh, okay, so this is big. Not even in the country, I think outside as well. So basically, I chose Remedy because I thought like, wow, it's such a big brand. I didn't know how big, but it is such a big brand. And honestly, I feel like their current brand identity was a bit outdated. Like it felt really like an early 2000s like Tumblr, not even like really, really basic. And I thought that they had such a good name, Remedy. And it didn't really transmit for me what, like, the benefits and everything that they are really inside, right? Like the product is all about, this literal remedy. So once I saw this, I said, okay, I looked at competitors over here. Everyone was kind of in the same everyone was kind of in the same lane, right? Except maybe these guys, but everything was pretty loud and I'm trying not to be too healthy in their approach, maybe on purpose. I don't really know. Well, this guy, yes, but I liked this one. And I said, okay, let's see who their target audience is, this is one of the things in Shillington that it's really like, especially on the rebrand, you go really into like one brand in particular, which really helps to develop a new brand concept, which we were talking about before. And I saw myself in the current target audience, I think. And I said, okay, what would I like as well? I asked myself that question. I looked at who was buying it according to their website as well, like who were their consumers and things like this. So after I thought about brand touch points, and basically, well, these are some other competitors at the end. I changed the target audience, but just slightly. I just went a little bit further into them, and I thought, okay, it could be someone that's looking for sober living, for example, someone that still wants, to be part of community, but like having an alternative without being misjudged. I don't know
Yeah,
how to say it, but like they're not chasing perfection, because this brand is not about, like, it's pretty experimental, let's say, in their initial concept. Like what kombucha is like fermentation is about, like kind of like the owners of this brand made it at the beginning in their home. It's going back to basics without being like, it's wellness but not clinical, right?
yeah.
It's not super exigent. Anyway, so here I said they value what it's alive, what's unprocessed. Nowadays everyone is getting more together to just enjoy. Well, coffee rapes are a thing, for example. So I was thinking more this target audience. I went with brand values, so community driven, which it's funny that I brought it up on this. Apparently, I have an ongoing theme. Community driven, rebellious, and raw. Basically, those three things I think were my idea of what I
So you
wanted to
did a
go
lot
to.
of research then to kind of get to this point and kind of looked at the target audience and existing competitors and things like that. Like, how did you identify like a potential opportunity for where you could find a different way for this brand to maybe stand out and do something different?
Yeah, I mean, it was like, we want to be alternative without being preachy and like, I don't know, maybe here with the challenge statements, which is something that's also really interesting to do, like a good exercise to do, is I said, how might we turn a simple drink into a cultural ritual? Being a very important thing about this, a bubbly connector that brings together people seeking balance, experimentation, and alternative living. What helped me, like, yeah, I did the research, but also like, I think that they were one of the things that I was looking at all the target audience and everything like that. I was thinking like, they're missing an opportunity here with their name. Their name was really the driver of all this, like the fact that it's like the remedy for something, like remedy
Mm.
for connection, for maybe alternative living, for experimenting with other types of drinks that are not the mainstream ones that we already know. I'm not gonna name them. Um, Here, well, this is after that the ideation and the brand concepts came up to be. So I love this part, what we were talking about before. I love this part of like, because my brain works. I have so many ideas, like this part of like brainstorming and putting everything like pen to paper. It was, it's really, it's really useful.
How do you normally approach that? Like, do you kind of sit at the computer and do this, or do you like go somewhere else? Do you do it in a sketchbook, or do you do it digitally? How do you like to approach like coming up with your ideas?
I usually do it pen to paper. And sometimes I took a picture and uploaded it here just to get it there. Or sometimes on my iPad. I also use my iPad a lot for the course. But on my own, I'm not even pen to paper. I have this what's his name? Ink fountain.
Ink fountain.
Yeah, yeah. I love it. I use this. I don't know. I feel like it's better to just concentrate on the paper and not having anything digital open because I get really contaminated by reference.
Hmm.
We all can. I mean, I don't know. I prefer to sit down with a coffee and do this. And I went over so many brand concepts, and at the end, we were we were proposed to change the name, and
Hmm.
at the end, I said, like I already anticipated this, but at the end, I said, no, I don't want to. I don't want to change the name. I actually think that the name is really strong.
Yeah.
So I went with the concept number one, that it was alchemy in a bottle, and the second one, it was social remedy. At the end of the day, I chose concept one, more like magic in a bottle, like this whole thing happening all in a bottle. Then fill in the blanks, whatever in a bottle, because whoever drinks it, if it's just a drink in a bottle, it's fine.
Hmm.
Anyway, so after that, wow, Spencer, how do we go about this?
Yeah. So you've like obviously got a very extensive kind of mood board of like references and things. What kind of like guided you when you were hunting for all that? Like, how did you? Is it like an intuitive process, or did you kind of have an idea? Did it kind of pop into your head? Like, did you kind of know what you were looking for when you were finding all these images?
Yeah, when once I married with like, okay, let's go for remedy, let's not change it. Once I got the I was convinced. I said, okay, like an apothecary kind of a thing, but I didn't want to go exactly to what everyone, like there's a lot of brands nowadays that are doing this really apothecary style, like Le Labo and many more. I didn't want to go there because first of all, I'm not I don't think of myself as like such a serious person, let's say. So I was like, yeah, that's good. So my concepts were driven by this type of world of like old remedies as well. Like here are some. This is this is a candy from back home, but it's it's pretty decorative.
Mm.
But I went for this, but at the same time, I was not looking at decorative things. I was looking at things that were more simple. But I ended up, I was looking at, for example, like things like this. And I said, this is not what I want exactly. So I was going from this to something like this to something with an illustration and wait, let's go back. So I was looking at all these really simple illustrations from, I don't know how to say, like stamp style, simple elements, simple typography. But at the same time, I didn't want to go so simple that it was going to be one more of in the rack, let's say. Although
Hmm.
it would be different from the rest of the drinks, but I wanted to go with something with a little bit more color because at the
And
end
so
of the
you,
day, sorry.
well, so you had all these references and kind of and directions to explore. What was next after that? So you took all these and did you start like experimenting, or did you try out some things based off these references? How did you kind of translate these into some design directions of your own?
Ah, yeah. Okay. I kind of wanted to merge simplicity with a little bit of this distortion. One of the words that came to my mind was like fissiness. With my previous concept, thinking, okay, what in a bottle, fissiness in a bottle, magic in a bottle, all of these like esoteric kind of things, concepts that are really hard to grasp. They're like whatever you want them to be in your mind. So for me, everything had to be a little bit fuzzy, bubbly,
Hmm.
ethereal. So with this in mind, I started experimenting a lot with Photoshop, pretty like with images of bubbles, images of like I did some drawings, some like distortions of various types. Like I went really rogue on some, more conservative on others. Like I I liked the fact that you could see that there were bubbles. Like I like the idea of making something that if you needed to realize what it was if you were looking at it really closely, but
Mhm.
not necessarily if you looked from it at it far away. I did some exploration on illustrations, and I even these are AI generated. I didn't like them, but I also tried it out. It's fine. Like I'm not against AI completely, but I don't think that it did what I wanted to do.
Were there any, were there any ideas that you explored that you were convinced would work, but then just absolutely didn't once you actually kind of started trying them out?
Well, yes, actually, this one was, I started working with this one initially, you know, but at the end, you'll see that I didn't use it at all.
Mhm.
I didn't use it at all. I went for something I did on my own. But this part of the exercise really helped me because once I did my illustration, which you'll see in a little bit, and even this, you know, this distortion of the typography that I did here, all of this, the texture and everything, helps me when with my final decision, because I applied a lot of my discoveries and like filters, things like this, to my final work. It was super helpful actually, because also I was using more Illustrator than Photoshop, so this was one of those projects which had a little bit more Photoshop than Illustrator.
So that's interesting. So you used AI to kind of like generate these images, and even though you didn't use them in the final design, they still kind of helped influence like the outcomes that you came up with. Is that kind
Yeah,
of how you worked?
yeah. These ones I don't. These ones were not AI. Maybe one or maybe one of these are is AI, but these ones were AI. They did help me with, for example, something that I liked about this image was more like some details, blurs and things like this. But yeah, it was helpful for that. But they were really knitted. I didn't like how clear they were, how literal they were. But there was
Mhm.
something about these blurs that I liked. Yeah, it definitely helped to try it out at least.
Let's have a look and see where the project ended up. Maybe let's jump over
Okay,
to the.
so here it is. I reworked my mood boards. I did a little bit more visual language. I went a little bit further with some of the elements I liked. Here is a mood board of some other graphic designer, and see how I took some what we were talking about, these examples. The
Mhm.
thing I took the elements I liked from those and like looked for further their examples in some other pieces, like mood board. And finally, here I started experimenting a lot. So I started with a really simple illustration, which I absolutely hated. I left it there. I left it there. You know why? Because I was thinking about what I said before, that the advice I would give myself as a younger person. I left it there, although I hated it, because at the end of the day, it's good to show everything. Like
Mhm.
I know it's, I look at it and
What
I'm shy.
were there any like small decisions that you made that you feel like had the biggest impact on like the final design that you developed?
Yeah. I think that there's something that it's more on a personal level than on a designer level, which by the way, it's kind of the same. It's hard. But like one of my teachers, Susana, from UK. She's Italian actually, but from my other stream, she said to me, "You're not an artist," which was really helpful actually. You're not an artist. You're doing this to serve a purpose. And like sometimes, even if you like what you did, it's not like what serves the purpose. So one of the
Mhm.
things that did happen in this one, I did some illustrations that I really liked actually without being distorted. This is not the full version, but it was closer to this one. It's raspberries because it was the flavor I was doing. You, Spencer, you kept on telling me distort it even more, even more, even more, and my ego was saying like, but I like it. But it's true. It's true that at the end, this small decision, which was big at the moment or not, but like this final decision made it so much better, actually. Like, so much better.
Yeah, it can be hard sometimes. We've got to kind of put our ego aside for a moment and just think about what's going to suit the project better than, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, here, sorry, one sec. My deck moved. Well, here you can see kind of like what my initial illustration was like. Even if it was, I thought I was going for it, putting some grain,
Mhm.
putting some blur, but no. At the end, it was even here. This is not the final version. The final version is over here, and
Do you
it's
have
really
your
distorted.
Do you have
Yeah,
your final portfolio file there at all?
my final portfolio. Yes, one sec.
That's
would
fine.
you would you would you bear with me? Final portfolios, right? Yeah, here I
Let's
am,
bring it up
or my
full
website.
screen, and then we can have a look. And
I have my website as well with. So here it is. This is the last.
so if you press the little play button at the top, and then we can preview it like full screen. Yeah, like this, nice and big, and then we can kind of, yeah, you can tell us a little bit maybe about the final outcome and maybe some of the outcomes that you created for this. Like, I'm interested to kind of hear about like that, the animations that you made, and yeah, and kind of
Okay.
maybe how you feel about the project now that it's finished.
You should have given me a heads up. I don't know what to say.
No, it's fine. Well, we'll just let's
Can edit me.
flick through to like that
Remedy.
project, and let's have a look. And so this is where you ended up at the end with the remedy design, and it's kind of interesting to see those illustrations have kind of like become, a little bit more abstracted now at this point. Okay, a few questions for you. What part of this project maybe took longer than you think it should have? Like, was there any part of it that you struggled with particularly?
Animations. The
Yeah,
little animations I did for it. It's a matter of like getting the knack of things, like getting the your mind out of one way of thinking and like more of a mathematical actually. Like
yeah,
every step is necessary. Don't skip any steps, which I'm not good at. I mean, I'm not good at. I tend to get overly excited and think like I want to do this and that, and then it's like, oh no, follow step by step, which a good lesson in patience.
yeah.
But yeah, I think that animations took more than what I would have liked. But also, yeah, the process of deciding.
Should we go to the animation page and have a look at
Yeah,
those?
it's very basic, by the way.
No, that's fine.
I want to say it. Heads up.
I'm curious just to hear about like how you approached animation for this, and like what you're thinking about. Like, did you still go back to like maybe like your brand concepts when you were considering
Yeah,
animation? I think maybe more like the Instagram posts. Yeah,
this
these
one's.
ones.
Oh my god, one disappeared.
Is it loading? Maybe it's still loading.
Ah,
There
yeah,
we
yeah.
go.
There you go.
So, yeah, so you created these animations for the brand. How did you approach, I guess, taking still graphics and then taking those into more of a animated realm?
Yeah. I think I really s- like anchored them to the messaging. I think that the messaging was I really thought about messaging with this one. So I just wanted to give protagonism to that, to the message. And I really went simple with it because, again, it was like the fine line between going overboard and like making it this full on thing. And no, I just wanted to keep it with the same concept behind, even though it's different. It's not that like it's not like the packaging, for example. I just went with a monotype and really like kept it really, really simple. On I didn't want to overcomplicate it because again, I think that what defines this brand is the simplicity of like its name.
Mm,
In the beginning of the presentation, I said like, how do we reimagine a brand standing on what already works? Like the power of its name, and I wanted to really emphasize that. So I think that's what I wanted to do with the stories, just like keep it really simple. I didn't want to be
yeah,
go
I think they
crazy.
work really well. The concept of the brand kind of comes through not only in the visuals, but even in the kind of like the pacing of the animation, which is really nice to see there.
Yeah. Sorry. Another thing. Sorry, I added. I don't know. Another thing I thought about when I was doing this animation was like the rhythm of nature. Like it's a pendulum. One of them is like a pendulum. The other one is like a breathing situation, like opening up and closing. It's pretty organic. That's
Mm,
what I was going for, simple, organic. Like the concept drives a little bit that slow pace. It's not anxious, It's
mhm.
like the opposite of that.
If you showed this project to your past self before studying design, what do you think would surprise them about this project?
Would surprise them. Well, a little bit the animation. She would be proud, I think.
Yeah.
Even if it's simple, I never thought I would go there, even though I love animation. Like I know animators and I love their work. I'm like, it feels like monumental to me. It felt now I know I can do it, but yeah, I think there's a bit of like how complete it is, right? I would be surprised
Mhm.
at like how yeah how I made something work all throughout, from a website to a social media post to packaging. Packaging was really another thing that I never thought I would, like, it wasn't on my mind. I really enjoyed it. And yeah, I really like to think maybe one day I can do something like in a physical form. That was really also something I would be happy about. I don't know if surprised, but like, that's pretty interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think that's great. I don't wanna hold you too much longer. I think, like, there's some, yeah, really great thoughts in there, and it was really interesting to kinda hear about some of the kind of development of this project. So I think it'll be very handy to kind of have all this and it's just
This is the end.
yes,
This is
the
the end. I
final
don't know.
page.
I just wanted to see. Yeah, yeah. This is the
Yeah.
end.